All right, welcome to today's Weapons of War podcast, and I'm your host, Eden Chironde. Yet again, here to tackle another agenda that has been making a bit of the news lately. What we've learned recently is that what has been stacked away on the hips of conspiracy theories has become today's breaking news. And today we are talking none other than the digital IDs that have become the major news recently. We realized that in the UK recently, while speaking at the Global Progress Action Summit 2025 this year in London, and we are talking September, the Prime Minister Keir Starmer talked about the launch of the Brit card. That's the digital ID for Britain. But again, we've been talking about recently about so many of these agendas that are being rolled out around the world. This too is no different. The digital ID is the last bit in this entire agenda, where they will place all your data in one place, and then they will be able to control you. Not just monitor you and policing you, but to control what you can buy, what you can do, check where you are, where you buy it from, what quantities you buy. They control your movements, where you stay, and everything else. So that's going to be the major subject we're tackling today. Shall we just break into what Keir Starmer said at the Global Progress Action Summit in September this year in London. He was launching the Brit card, and he said that it was free of charge. Again, when they mention some of these words, free of charge, of course that's to entice you to get on board with whatever agenda they are bringing forward. They are meant to make it seem easy and convenient for you to get on with a bit of benefits, of course. And we shall continue in this. He said, you will not be able to work in the UK, in the United Kingdom, if you do not have a digital ID. It's as simple as that. And while he said it's as simple as that, the entire issues around the digital IDs are not as simple as that. But again, you'll notice that when you go to the benefits, he scrambled around for the benefits. Because for me, usually, the best way to look at this agenda, to analyze them, is to look at the cost-benefit analysis. What am I giving up to gain these benefits that are being sold to me? So he talked about the Brit card, the digital ID would help stop the illegal immigration or curb the illegal immigration in the UK. It is skyrocketing there. Of course, they are talking about, so many we talked about in the past about the defilement gangs that have taken place in the UK. A big case recently, even sacking in the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, that he knew all about it and did nothing. Sacking in the police that also did nothing about it, while all this havoc was, going on. Is saying that the Brit card or the digital ID that he was talking about launching in the UK will help curb illegal immigration, because again we know that much of those defilement gangs were formed by members or constituted members from various countries, not exactly citizens. But perhaps to cut here a bit, I want you to first listen to what exactly Keir Starmer said about the Brit card and the launch of the digital ID in the UK, and what he said the benefits were going to be.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that. Because decent, pragmatic, fair-minded people, they want us to tackle the issues that they see around them. And of course, the truth is, we won't solve our problems if we don't also take on the root causes, looking upstream to tackle poverty, conflict.
When he mentions that it will help curb illegal immigration in the UK, you have to notice that today we have a very good example in Trump. How has he managed to curb illegal immigration in the US without launching a digital ID? So therein is a hoax already. That this digital ID, while they tell you it's going to do this, actually you notice that there's another man who has achieved that without the digital ID. So for example, when you look at Trump here, it says this was from the New York Post, said that 7.2 illegal immigrants entered the US under the Biden administration, an amount greater than the population of 36 states. 7.2 entered illegally in the US during the previous administration. But again, you find that Trump moves in there, all he does was safeguard the borders. Be serious about it. And what happened was that illegal border crossings have gotten to their lowest level since 1970. He's been able to achieve that without a digital ID. So when another person comes in and tells that they're bringing this digital ID, and one of the key benefits they mention is to safeguard your borders, you'd know that's a lie. Safeguarding borders has never required a digital ID. But again, they always scramble around for benefits, because again, how else can you sell something bad? You have to sweeten it. We note that Starmer said that it will also offer ordinary citizens countless benefits. Okay, he said, like being able to prove your identity to access key services swiftly. Like identifying yourself will be easy. When he says accessing key services swiftly, again, it doesn't go so much into details of that, rather than hunting around for an old utility bill. I think when he talks about utility bills here, he's also talking about electricity bills, gas bills. Out there, they use a lot of gas for warming their houses. Then you talk about water bills. I think all those bills will be fixed on your digital ID. So what he's saying that when you're looking for what utility bill you paid or didn't pay, you don't have to go through that hassle. Everything will be on the digital ID, so it will increase your convenience and when everything is in one place. So you see that the benefits are scanty for something major that he wants to introduce. And was it Tony Blair again who added that citizens will be able to report potholes in real time? Reporting potholes has never required one having a digital ID. Okay, but again, we know that the other underside of having a digital ID, again, the digital ID, I would just say that it's an ID that contains all your personal data, everything. It will include not just your biometrics, it will include your bank accounts, it will include, like you mentioned, utility bills, it will include wherever you've been. They'll be able to track you wherever you've been, wherever you're at, whatever you're buying, when you're buying it, in what quantities you're buying it. Everything about you will be fixed on that digital ID. Now the thing with the digital ID is that because that data is centralized, now imagine your bank account being also controlled on that digital ID, just one ID. Imagine if someone seated somewhere and say you committed crime X and they switch you off. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Now, imagine with your digital ID, someone being able to say, no, we said no moving beyond this jurisdiction. Now you moved, therefore your bank account has been disabled, because it's also there on that digital ID. You understand? So the digital ID is not, though they call it ID, it's not mainly for identification. It's more of a control tool. It's the final piece in this control tool. We've been talking about the launch of the central bank digital currencies, where they want to get rid of cash, get rid of coins, and all of us have digital money issued by the central banks. Central bank digital currency account of yours will also be centralized. It will also be on that digital ID. Now everything about you will be on that digital ID. They will be able to monitor you. Where have you gone? Who have you talked to? How far have you gone? What have you bought? Where have you spent much of your time? And all that is being done not to plan for you. That now we see this one's movements are like this. These people here walk a lot, therefore let's make for them walk-free zones. No, it's not for that. All that is done in order to monitor you, to control you. What did you say on social media? Who are you to say this? Therefore, you lose points and then you are locked out of your account, or your account is disabled for some time. You understand what I'm talking about? But we shall delve into it further. Again, they talk about centralizing someone's data in one place also has the other disadvantage. People say it's a hacker's dream. People who hack, if all your data is in one place, one password, then anyone who hacks in there, they have your entire life. Bad as that sounds, the biggest evil is in the control that these people want over all populations. And when I say people, those are, we've talked about them, the globalists, the elite. I use so many terms. At times I refer to them as big brother, people who want to watch over your every move. again, they sell most of these things under the guise of convenience. Because when you talk about convenience, we've been in places where someone asks you for money or you need money. In the same place you are, you can wire money, you can order for your ride, you can order for your meal without stepping out of your comfort zone, you understand? You can watch all your games on the go if you're a sports fan, or even movies. Everything is on the gadget. You understand? Now that kind of convenience is what they are selling. But under that convenience that they are selling us, I know you'll be able to achieve this, you'll be able to do this. At the click of your finger, you'll be able to do this, do that, do that. Under that sort of convenience, pseudo-convenience, that's where the trap is. I'll put a disclaimer here that I know the gaslighting that goes on around when you mention certain of these things. So you mean we should go back to the way we lived our lives? Not even us. Our grandfathers, our grandparents lived their lives in the African traditional society. No communication, no what, perhaps letter writing. Way back, we should put aside everything digital, because the digital space is becoming like a prison where a big brother or the elite plan to control us. So we should put aside everything digital and we get off the networks. No, all I'm saying that anything is not bad. Something's not bad usually. It becomes bad depending on who has it and who is using it and for what purpose. I'll give for example, a gun per se is not bad. A gun is can be a protection tool for someone to protect themselves from thieves, from robbers, from what. But again, robbers can use the same gun to kill people for nothing, to rob people, you understand? So it's the same thing with digitization, as I may say, that it's not bad. It has added a lot of good. It has brought a lot of good to humanity. But now when someone presents it as the only option and they want to shut off all the other options, that's where the evil begins. Again, when someone says no cash, no coins, your other online or digital platforms of money, mention mobile money, mention online banking, mention your Visa, MasterCards, that you want to collapse them into the central bank digital currency, that's what the problem is. When they get to centralizing all this data under one roof, on one card, in the control of the globalists, that's where the problem is. But digitization in itself is not bad. It becomes bad depending on who, in whose hands it is, who is using it. So again, now I don't want people to gaslight. So he said digitization is bad. This said no, it's not. That's what I'm saying. That these people are planning to use the digital system for bad, and the earlier you wake up, the better for you. And one of those ways why they want to use the digital systems for bad is by the introduction of the digital IT, where they have all your data centralized, put in one place. Everything about you is put in one place. Why do they want it centralized? So that they can easily control you. Right now, when all your data is decentralized, you're on a digital system. You can order for your ride, you can order for your foods, you can even control your bank accounts. You're on digital systems, but they're decentralized. There are different players in the market, which makes it a bit harder for them to control you. In certain areas are not even on the digital systems. While you have a bank account which you can operate digitally, you can also go and pick cash, and then they get off the grid. Now they don't want that. They want to monitor your every step. That's why they are herding everyone onto this digital system, getting them in there, and then even after getting onto the digital systems, the different parts, they want to collapse all those parts into one, and that's the digital ID. If you're wondering, is this a new trend? It's not a new trend. Since the beginning of humanity, there have been people that have always desired to control others, to control resources. There's always been a clique of people that have sought to have this power. So this control is not something new, but again, it has taken on several levels today. For example, if you watch the movie again, the documentary or the movie, it's called The Agenda, Their Vision. Your future, it was put out by Oracle Films this year. You can watch it out. It said that the lust to control other human beings is a story as old as time. And therein they mentioned that they picked from about a century ago when there emerged a group of experts and scientists and academicians that thought that humans could best be governed not by elected Democrats or politicians that were elected democratically. So they thought to have something called the technocracy. But why the technocracy that we are talking about, and they talked about it having started about 100 years back, we know, again, like you said, that the lust to control humanity has been the Achilles heel of so many people. So many people have desired it from way back, even beyond the technocracy. But about the technocracy, they said, well, the movement was there about 100 years ago and died soon after. The agenda and the vision of that group of people that was called the technocracy has never died. The group may die, the people may die, and the name, the technocracy, may have faded, but the vision and the agenda of a select group of elite academicians, businessmen, politicians wanting to control the whole world, its resources and the people therein did not die. That has continued through various organizations and associations like we are going to see. And their main issue, again, is that while they preach a lot of good things that, oh, this is going to do for you this, all this agenda they put out, like the World Economic Forum is one of those forums or organizations that have continued to drive the agenda and mission of the technocracy that was birthed over a century back. One of their biggest mantras is that you will own nothing but still be happy. While they gloriously speak about all these promises that are coming with every agenda that they keep rolling out, like the Dicto ID, their main intentions are also before our eyes. They are right before our sight. The nation thinks you will own nothing and still be happy. How is that even possible? We all see so many people around us who own nothing, and you don't admire to be like them. But yet for them, they preach that. While they preach that, they're here to enrich you. Enrich me how? When I talked about that I own nothing and still be happy. Now with this group of elite, again, you notice that they want to collapse liberal democracies, like the various countries, the government. They want to collapse those individual governments. But how do you collapse them? That's why they want to push everyone onto these Dicto platforms using various ways. Then after pushing on the Dicto platform, they centralize it under the Dicto ID. Now that Dicto ID, after it has been centralized on the national level, say the Brit card, like Keir Starmer was talking about, then it won't stop there, that the UK has its own Dicto ID and perhaps Uganda has its own Dicto ID, or Ghana, or Kenya. All those Dicto IDs will be collapsed under one system that will be monitored by Big Brother across the world, and therefore the individual democracies across the world will die, and the entire world will be under the rule of that clique of, about a handful of people. That's their goal, really. But then, what tools are they going to use to achieve this? You see, we are talking about the Dicto ID. What tools are they going to use to ensure that they monitor you, they control you, and they police you? We've talked about the Dicto ID, but the Dicto ID needs information in place for them to be able to see whatever you're doing, whatever you're buying, which law you've broken. There needs to be certain systems in place for the Dicto ID to pick all that info and feed them. One of those ways that they're going to use is to survey you everywhere you go. So there's going to be a lot of surveillance, and with this we shouldn't second guess how far they will go. But let's look at this clip by this company called Axis Communication. It makes street cameras, and see how much or how deep cameras have gotten today, especially street cameras, how far they have gotten, and the extent to which this surveillance could be. Of course, the people that came up with that Axis Communication may have had the best of intentions at their heart, so I'm not saying they're part of it. But at the end of the day, their technology that they came up with gives a hint to the kind of surveillance that will be, all is about to take place, all is already taking place in some parts of the world. Let's stop here and you have a look at this advert.
There's a lot of talk going around these days about smart cities, and it can sometimes feel like a bit of a complicated subject. But does working with cities really have to be that complex? I thought I'd give it a go and explain what Axis can do for cities and local governments over a cup of coffee. It'll be about 3 minutes, give or take. So if you're ready, let's do this. There. Since we launched the world's first network camera, we've focused on surveillance, making our society more safe and secure. Today, our products are used in more than 6,000 cities all over the world. All these different products are used to collect evidence and speed up investigations. They deter crime and support emergency management. Or why not capture license plates to manage traffic violations? Pretty cool if you ask me. By working with cities for many years, we've learned about their challenges over time, which of course is reflected in our product development. And with the latest camera technology, we've developed the camera into a sensor. And that's really opened up a lot of possibilities for all of us. So, camera is sensor. How does it work? Well, by adding analytics on the edge of the camera does not only capture video, it can now start to count, measure, and detect. With deep learning capability, the camera is able to generate accurate and trustworthy data and send notifications in order to take action, all directly from the camera. And since our cameras have open technology, well, we can work with different analytic partners from all over the world and together do just about anything we want.
So you find that much of that technology, like the cameras you spotted, they are designed for a society that to be heavily under surveillance. Because you've noted that the cameras will be focused on surveillance, again they mention things like that you'll be safe, you'll be secure, because the cameras will be able to pick, not just show you images, but also add analysis to what they are capturing. So you already see that the cameras they talked about already in 6,000 cities. They collect evidence and then they speed up investigation. They deter crime and they support emergency management. Those all sound nice, right? But the other bit, of course, that is mentioned is that they'll be able to feed that data. They have facial recognition. They can identify you in a crowd. Again, when I say facial recognition, because where we are going, that facial recognition technology and whatever is also being rolled out in certain countries. We shall tackle where Uganda is on this roadmap, and you notice that these cameras will serve much more than just looking out for criminals on the streets, but they also be looking out for people who dissent. During the COVID times when they said that curfew beginning, was it at 6 p.m, you're not supposed to move here, you're not supposed to go there. Now imagine someone is in their village and they're walking. During the COVID times, the police is the one that enforced that. Where we're going with these cameras in place that can be able to tell who the person is by beaming in on their face or iris, picking their iris scans. You find that we'll have a little role in surveilling you. The moment the camera picks you up, wherever big person is seated, that they're able to tell, oh, this is David so or is Anna who decided to walk when we said people shouldn't be walking at this time. So they go and immediately punishment is passed that you're locked out of your central bank digital currency. So you find that everything is done instantly. These cameras are more like now analytical machines. They just don't capture images. They can pick out individuals from crowds. Who is this one rioting against this agenda we've rolled out? We've said that people shouldn't be driving fossil fuel powered cars like petrol. They shouldn't be driving them on such and such days. And who is this one driving from here? Even if it's to hospital, so to say. Who is he? They just pick your number plate, pick things, and then the punishment is effected immediately without anyone coming to your door, without anyone knocking at your door or coming to carry you to prison. Punishments are immediately given. And now we see that they talked about that with deep learning capability, the camera is able to generate accurate, trustworthy data and send notifications in order to take action. The camera can send notifications to whoever has planted it there. And this will mainly apply, we've heard about smart cities, and everything that they say smart, we attribute it to improvement in our general life. But we find that when they mention smart cities, actually those will be surveillance cities. Those will be cities that will be highly surveilled. Most of them will be 15 cities. You're not supposed to go beyond this boundary. You're not supposed to go beyond that boundary. Why aren't you supposed to go beyond a certain boundary X? Is because we are fighting. Their biggest issue is going to be climate change. We are cutting down on the fumes that are being emitted by, say, your borders, by your Ubers, by your cars, by the airplanes. Therefore, cut down on your movement. Work within your locality. Now, how do they ensure people actually adhere to such draconian rules? Because even in COVID, people refused. How do you ensure that people adhere to such draconian rules? Because my idea was born with this desire for freedom, innate desire for freedom, you've seen that. So now how do you ensure that they obey to stay within those smart cities, even perhaps without the police, by just heavily monitoring them and punishing them instantly? Those who step out of line, you just lock them out of their accounts. And the CBD central bank cryptocurrencies are going to come in handy. as the route for punishment. We saw that on the truckers' rights in Canada when all those that supported the truckers were demonstrating again or protesting against the COVID mandates, forced vaccinations, and some of them were identified and their accounts frozen without anyone reaching out to their door or trying to arrest them. No. Punishments you spotted from far off, and punishments are instantly effected. So when they talk about a camera that is able to generate accurate and trustworthy data and send notifications, and then he also talks about, and since our cameras have open technology, we can work with different analytics partners from all over the world and do just about anything they want. They can work with anyone around the world. That means if those cameras are here in Uganda monitoring you, they can work with anyone, perhaps in the UK or in the US, who has access to that data. And now that person, now even your punishments could be coming in from far beyond the borders of your locality. They may not be coming in from, say, Uganda, if you're situated in Uganda. The moment a law is passed, curfews across the world for fighting, we are fighting this pandemic X, and for you decide to walk here to there, the punishment comes in, say, from someone seated wherever it is, Geneva, whatever city they're seated in. Okay, so it may not even be your local authorities here dishing out those punishments. And again, we see that the other bit that they're going to use a lot is AI to help them, again, surveil and analyze data and punish people. AI will come in terms of automation. We've talked about the central bank digital currencies that will come in mainly as a punishment tool. And then we talked about the digital ID. The digital IDs help them to concentrate all this data in one place. Because if you're going to control humanity to that level, you don't want decentralized data in all places. Now today, if I'm talk about, you have your mobile money account, some of you on MTN, on Airtel, and all the other platforms. You have your bank account, some of you in even more than 3 banks, where you have online, you have the mobile apps, you have the ATMs, all your data. Now I'm talking just financially, your data is scattered. So it's hard for someone who wants to punish you financially to even lock you in. If they close your one mobile money account, you have another one. If they close all your online platforms, perhaps you have some cash on you. Like, you have so many escape routes, and those are the ones that they're trying to close out by driving us all, money speaking now financially, driving us all onto this central bank digital currency, that everything that you're doing is on this central bank digital currency. All the other avenues are going to be collapsed into this one avenue. All the other accounts that you have, they are going to be collapsed, whereby we all have. Now you want to meet someone, which bank are you? For me, I'm in this bank. For me, I'm in the other bank. Oh, which line should I send the money to? Is it this line? Or we shall all be aligned to one central bank digital currency account. We shall all be in one place. Now, if you send someone tokens, whatever they'll be calling them, you send them, you don't even have to ask your details, okay? And this will help them, they will affect every aspect of our lives. They will affect what you buy, where you buy it, the quantities you buy, where you travel. Travel will be a major thing here, because they want, under the guise of controlling climate change and all that, cutting down on fumes. So travel will be one of those things that they'll cut back a lot. That's why, again, to digress a bit, when you listen to certain of these things, are car-free days. Those are subtle ways of introducing these things. That, you have a car-free day. All the air in Kampala was so pure today. People measured and there are no fumes. It was all nice. Those car-free days are the initial steps to take you into the zones where they now say a car-free week as we fight climate change, a car-free month, a car-free zones like Kampala. We don't drive, we only drive those in the upcountry. In these areas, no driving, because we are fighting climate change. Here, they are initiating you into these things, and we are all, diving for car-free days. Oh, Kampala is nice. We are able to walk from one end to another without cars, without borders, and all that sounds nice. But again, when you know the end, you can easily tell when they start the big steps towards taking you to that end. Some were very happy during the COVID time that, the air in Kampala is so pure, it was so nice. People are stuck at home, their freedoms are being trampled upon. Some can't access medical services, and all someone talking about is the purity of the air in Kampala. And people's businesses have collapsed, their means of earning have collapsed, their families are affected, children are stuck at home, they can't go to school, and so many other things. Young girls are being married off, in early marriages, and whatever that we talked about, that's the domestic violence that also escalated during that time, the suicidal rates, people suffered mental health issues, and someone is talking about the air being pure. Now, people who talk like that know that they have tested a bit of power and they will get an excuse to try to relieve it. And they're not going to stop at only that. So you find that when they start these carefree days, those are the initial steps into taking it into carefree weeks. Here is the truth that no matter what they say, no matter what the convenience they may be talking about, the benefits that they may talk about in glowing terms, the issue is that the unelected or this transnational ruling class desires one thing. They desire control of all the resources in the world, of all the resources, and they desire to control you. This they have said over and over, that you will own nothing and you will still be happy. At least they have not hidden their ultimate goal from you. They have played that over and over and they keep it before your face. Now, whatever agenda they come up with is just towards achieving that vision of them owning everything. When they say that you own nothing, you have to ask yourself, then who will be in charge, all ownership of all these resources that you are seeing? If they say I will own nothing, then who will own all these things? Who will be in control of all these things? Isn't that too much power placed in the hands of this one person or this small class to be in charge of all these resources? Of course, they will talk about redistributing all these resources, equally, so that there are no class divisions. But again, that's never the issue. That's socialism and communism and all their isms that always try to control and try to be the ones in charge of distributing. But you know that whenever people's ability to produce for themselves has been hampered, what has always tended to more control and more scarcity. That's their main goal. But again, we may ask that what's the real issue of all this digital ID launch? The whole issue of all this digital ID launch is the centralization of data. Now that they have achieved to a degree, now you may look at people like China, people like UK, to a degree they have managed to get a sizable number of people into these digital systems. But now the other item they want to do is to get all that data, to get all of us into one place, and that's their end goal. When they get you into this one place, all that data and centralized into one place, it's easier for them to control. Again, it's not to your benefit that all your data, your banking data is on the digital ID, your medical data is on the digital ID, your rides that you pick, Uber, whatever, is on the digital ID, your foods app, digital ID. It's not so much to your advantage that everything is put in one place. It's too much power that will be given to the person that will be in charge or overseeing all that data. And they will not be overseeing that data to your advantage. They will be seeking to exploit it, seeking to control you, seeking to lock you out, to punish you whenever they pass rules at their whims. Okay? When you talk about control and monitoring you and policing you, it comes with the other side of the punishment. In the past, when talking about central bank digital currencies, we talked about that, again, those will not be exactly currencies. These will be like social credit systems. Again, when I talk about social credit systems, it's a system where someone is rewarded or punished according to their behavior. So again, you notice that this digital ID or the central bank digital currency that will also be collapsed into the digital ID. When your account is on that digital ID, you find that to access it or to use your money will depend less on the availability of the money that you have. It will depend so much on how you behave, your social score. That if you behaved well and according to their surveillance and the data they have picked up, you've behaved well, then you can access some of your money. They could even reward you. But again, if someone has maybe said that, no, I'm not, or missed their 7th booster for pandemic, what X, and it records that, this one hasn't received this booster, that person could be locked out of their account, in spite the money they may have, in spite their bank balance. If someone tries to move out of a certain jurisdiction, so we told you that for this month, no one moves beyond 15 minutes of where they stay, of their locality. You should move from here to wherever you want to go. You should be within a 50 minutes radius. Now someone tries to go further to their village. Now such a person will be punished and knocked out of their account. So you find that the access to their account will not be exactly down to how much they have or how little they have. It will depend so much on how well you've behaved, how well you've adhered to these various agendas that will be rolled out. So that's a social credit system that will be in operation when they finally have their way with the central bank digital currencies and the digital IDs. So that's why, to cut a bit here, is that when you talk about digitization is good, but digitization in the hands of wrong people can be so evil. And these people that are pushing all these elements, the CBDCs and the digital IDs, saying that they are not good people is an understatement. These are very evil people, and they seek to control all resources and control us too. I may have to pause there a bit so that to hear from their own mouths what they have said about digital IDs and its capabilities and what they intend to do with it. So that again, you don't just take my word for it, but for you to know that what I'm saying, I've picked it from listening to their very intentions, what they plan to do with the digital IDs, which again they hide under benefits. Let's listen to this gentleman called Larry Ellison, who was talking to Tony Blair, explaining AI-powered surveillance and our future. Let's listen to him and what he has to say.
Your body cams will be transmitting that. The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
When you come to government and what government's doing, there are artificial intelligence tools, and some of them I know that Oracle have developed around financial management for government. But also, tell us a bit about what, because you're right at the forefront of this revolution, what it means for what government should do in terms of its digital infrastructure, digital ID, data centers, and so on.
How do you take advantage of these incredible AI models? And the first thing a country needs to do is to unify all of their data so it can be consumed and used by the AI model. You have to take all of your healthcare data, your diagnostic data, your electronic health records, your genomic data. And in the Middle East, in the UAE, for example, they're incredibly rich in data. They have a lot of population data. The NHS in the UK has an incredible amount of population data, but it's fragmented. It's not easily accessible by these AI models. We have to take all of this data we have in our country and move it into a single, if you will, unified data platform. So we provide context. When we want to ask a question, we've provided that AI model with all the data they need to understand our country. So that's the big step. That's kind of the missing link. We need to unify all of the national data, put it into a database where it's easily consumable by the AI model, and then ask whatever question you like.
Larry is one of the richest people. It's estimated that his net worth is about $300 billion. But these were his reasons why he is in support of this AI-powered surveillance and just digital IDs. Talked about the police will be on their best behavior because we shall be constantly watching and recording everything that's going on. The police will be on their best behavior. Now, do you think they are going to only be monitoring the police? Of course, here I mentioned the police because out there people keep saying that the police is after them. The police, defund the police. You've heard that movement out there. Defund the police is after us. The police is racist, etc. So it taps into that to say that the police will be on its good behavior. This police at times you face here, police has hammered this one, policeman has beaten that and that. When the policemen know that now they are being monitored, they will be on their best behavior, knowing that we shall be constantly watching and recording everything that is going on. But do you think that will stop on the police? That will come to you too. They will be constantly watching and recording everything that is going on. But who are they? They will be. And then you have to ask who are those they and what's their end goal? That they are constantly monitoring and recording everything that's going on. And then it talks about citizens too will be on their best behavior because we constantly recording and reporting what's going on. Now citizens too will be on their best behavior because Big Brother will be watching. Where have you gone? What have you bought? We said no one should be buying more than 3 shirts because we are fighting climate change and those industries produce a lot of fumes. We say no one should be riding on a motorbike today. So you attempted that. And then you say that there will be constant recording and reporting. Now after the reporting, what do you think will be happening next? If they reported that, oh, you put up this social media post that such and such is an evil agenda and that evil agenda is being pushed by this same elite. If they reported that, what do you think would be next? This is Larry Ellison. He's at the very, very, very top. You get. He's done speaking to Tony Blair, telling him all this. You get. And now Tony Blair asked a question: what government should do in terms of the digital infrastructure, digital ID, digital centers, and so on. And Larry's first answer is that the first thing a country needs to do is to unify all their data. All of your healthcare data, diagnostic data, electronic health records, etc. So again, it's talking about unifying all the data. These people want all our data. After driving us onto the digital platforms, they want all that data in one place, and that one place where they can have all that data is the digital ID. There will be constant recording and reporting of whatever you're doing, because that digital ID will have everything that you're doing, because now everything will be on digital. If you want to order for a ride, it will be on digital. If you want to buy fuel, it will be on digital. Wherever you've gone driven from here to there, you can be tracked. Some of you have those trackers. You can switch them and on that track your exercising and the distance you've covered in a day. Now this will be compulsory. They will be targeting that, tracking that, showing all that, and then reporting where you made a mistake or you deliberately defied the laws. And after the reporting, the punishment also comes in. And again, for me, the biggest takeout here is that the first thing a country needs to do is to unify all their data. That's what Larry has said, unifying the data, and that's what we have been saying. That's where the digital ID comes in. These people don't want fragmented data. Fragmented data is hard to monitor. They can't control it. And even if we are on digital in various spaces, it's hard for them to monitor that. And especially in third world countries where some people are even still holding cash, still doing things off the digital platforms, those are even harder. So we have to take all the data we have in our country and move it into a single unified platform. That's what it's saying. That's a big step and the missing link. The single unified, take all the data you have in the country and put it under one unified platform. That's the digital ID. But putting it there for what purpose? That they may be able to control, to police you, control you, and also punish you properly. And because once we get into the digital ID, then everything's on digital. You can't purchase using cash. Cash is off. We have CBDCs, understand? Like so many commentators have said, that will be the end of our privacy, and we shall not have to pretend about that. This, if again all this sounds like utopian, things that may happen 1,000 years to come when you've left this world and you think perhaps this does not concern you, let us look at this case study of what's happening in China. And this was a news report by NBC News. The title from that YouTube link was China Tracking and Scoring Citizens in New Social Credit System. This was in May 2019. So have a look at what is already happening in China that could be coming close to your country.
Everywhere she goes, Ouyang Haoyu is followed. What she buys, how she behaves, is tracked and scored to show how responsible and trustworthy she is. It's called the social credit system, and in one version now being tested, a person's reputation is scored on a scale of 350 to 950. And Haoyu, with a good score of 752, is okay with it. In fact, most people are.
It's a mechanism like pushes you to become a better citizen.
It's big data meets Big Brother, expanding how the government monitors, understands, and ultimately controls its 1.4 billion citizens. Thanks to advances in artificial intelligence and facial recognition, and a web of more than 200 million surveillance cameras.
Are people bothered by privacy concerns?
We think the lot of camera keep the safety is really good. We can accept it.
Companies are experimenting with the algorithms to help the government create the new national social credit system. The government also has pilot projects. In one, citizens are required to do hours of unpaid work to get benefits. And scores are docked for things like littering, a messy yard, gossip, even jaywalking. Video of offenders is shown on the local news. And information collectors like Jo Ai-Ni are paid to report on their neighbors. Her quota, 10 entries a month. Like the man who carried a drunk person home. A good deed, she says. Good social credit gets rewarded with perks like cheap loans and travel deals. But a bad score means public shame and worse. Huang Hui-jun lost a court case and didn't pay. Now he's on a government blacklist. I can't buy airplane or train tickets, he says, and the list goes on. Being discredited makes it hard to get a job or put kids in top schools. The social credit system will go nationwide next year, and few here are willing to criticize it. Something that may pose a risk itself for a bad score and the life that comes with it. Janice Mackey-Frere, NBC News, Beijing.
I love the way they opened that it's big data meets Big Brother. This is exactly the thing that I've been talking about here. It's big data meeting Big Brother. This elite want all this data in one place that they may monitor you. And then said that expanding how government monitors, understands, and ultimately controls its 1.4 billion citizens. They are talking about China. It became the foundation for their social credit systems. We've talked about social credit systems where you're rewarded according to your behavior and punished according to your, bad behavior. And now the West is copying it. One mistake and you lose your bank, your job, your family, your freedom. One mistake and your family is punished or you are taken to prison. And people worried about privacy concerns. The response there, perhaps the person couldn't give the truth, but they say we think a lot of the cameras will keep us safe. And that's again one of the things that they have sold a lot. Oh, the surveillance, can you imagine if someone robs what, we shall be able to tell them in real time. The police will be able to act immediately. If say there has been a robbery on Kampala Road, the police will be able to spot the thieves immediately and then be sent there. The thieves, we shan't go into all these things of can you help us identify these artistic facial impressions? No. These cameras will be able to get using facial recognition systems. They'll be able to pick, oh no, this is son, so because we've seen this iris scan, so it belongs to John, whatever. And then they come for you. They can even track your movements. They see how you're moving. And people be like, yeah, they increase safety. These cameras will be nice. You shall be safe. Safe, yes, that's the selling point. But the real intention is to monitor you. But again, they can't tell you that because you resist that, immediately. So how can they sell it to you? Again, they talk about information collectors. In that news clip, people spying on each other. These are things that have happened even during the COVID times. Remember, people used to tell about that this one's not putting on a mask. Minister of Health, come for them. Police. On social media, we saw those things. This one is anti-science. This one is anti. How can you speak? People were policing on each other because of some really genuinely thought they were doing good. Understand? That is happening already in China, and then scores will be deducted for littering, messy yards, gossip, even jaywalking. Jaywalking is walking in spaces that you're not supposed to walk at. Say if the light has turned green, traffic light has turned green and cars should be moving, and then you the pedestrian you step into the road to cross when it's time for the cars to walk, whatever, you're not supposed to walk in these places, all at the beach like it was in COVID, you're not supposed to walk here. You can be seen and then punished instantly. That's what happened in China, according to news report that you've seen. And then they say that one side they found that at least 1/3 of the total offenses, now here is the issue, 1/3 of the total offenses that people are being punished for in China were not actually against the law. These were not exactly pinned down in the law. The local government authorities, just channel these laws as and when. Not today, we decided. So it's not that something's written in the constitution, you've broken. No, it's almost a rule by decree. That this evening we decided, like they decided with the COVID lockdowns, people wherever they were, perhaps they had gone to the village and they're like, lockdowns have started, no movement, no cars, so you're locked that side. you imagine, so we've had a taster of that in 2020. And then, but again, they also mentioned the lesser evils of cyber security concerns. You see that those cyber security concerns are the lesser evils. the bigger evil is the control of humanity, the control of resources by this small clique of elites of Big Brother that wants to collapse, get us all onto these digital platforms, and then collapse all our data into one place, that's the digital ID, and then begin the control. Digitization or moving to digital is not bad in itself. It's not bad in itself. It has a lot of good. It only becomes bad depending on whose hands it is. Or it becomes good depending on whose hands it is. So digitization in itself has added a lot of good things, you get. But again, these people intend to use these things for bad. So, talking about all that that is happening out there, that they are planning, what you have seen in China, what you have seen people like clarion tell us, and then what you have seen Keir Starmer do. Where is Uganda in all this? I always want to bring it down back to us. Where are we in all this? I believe that Uganda, one, we are in a data collection period. We are still collecting our data. I will clarify that. And then we too are into, we've waged our war on cash by the introduction of, we are I think in the pilot phase right now with the central bank digital currencies. We are also moving towards centralization of some of our digital aspects. Data collection, war on cash with the introduction of central bank digital currencies, and then the centralization of some of our digital elements. Again, why am I saying we're in the data collection phase to a certain degree? The ongoing, actually, national ID renewal exercise, the campaign that's going on, they have added another layer that now they are scanning the iris. The iris scans. Now, for me, the biggest thing that whenever something comes up, okay, now you've moved from thumbprints, you've added scanning people's iris. So what's the purpose for that? Why have added this layer? They're collecting data. When these cameras, the cameras that we talked about that can identify the people, the camera cannot pick your fingerprints. But now the camera which is beaming into your surveillance cameras on the streets, once they pick your iris scan, they can report back, and then through those machines can easily be identified. So right now what we are doing, we are collecting data. And here is the reason that they gave. The National Identification Registration Authority, that's NIRA, has incorporated iris scanning into the process of capturing biometric data. But I like what we are being told. This is the Executive Director of NIRA, the National Identification and Registration Authority. The Executive Director, Rosemary Chisembo, while she was appearing before the Parliament Committee of Commissions, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, COSASE. This is what she said. She revealed that there are currently 1 million people in the registrar whose fingerprints did not meet the required standards. So because people's fingerprints did not meet the required standards, so they are now scanning the iris. So we don't know why the fingerprints did not meet the standards, were they required scanned, but now we are moving on to scanning the iris, which for me actually comes off as an excuse, because when you say 1 million people, who is there to verify those 1 million people? Who is there to say that their fingerprints don't meet the standards? What is the standard, by the way? So etc. There are layers of questions here. But again, someone just throws an umbrella thing there to justify collecting more data, more personal data. Again, this IT officer who was also interviewed on the news, he was in Lubaga division, I think that just rolled out the registration exercise and ID renewal exercise. This is what he said. He's an IT officer, NIRA. He said, we are in the cutting edge technology. People are now not only scanning the fingerprints, but also the iris. Because we are in the cutting edge technology, you are going to scan my iris. You haven't given me any reason as to why you're taking my iris scan. The world is doing this, therefore, we are also doing it. To whose benefit are you doing that? How am I going to benefit from you scanning my iris? Else you may demand next time. Again, like I said, we are in the data collection exercise. But how did we get here? Again, we see that they are able to do that, especially with the national ID, because of the importance they placed on the national ID. It's almost unimaginable for some people to even remember that at one time we lived well without the national IDs. But the national IDs, over time, they came in, and you find that without a name is required for virtually everything, accessing your bank services, business registration, licensing, public services, tax compliance, SIM card activation, mobile money transactions, voting rights, acquiring a passport, driving permit. It's required everywhere. What is happening that they introduced this national ID, and over time they made it a must for you to have this national ID almost for everything. So it has become a very important document to so many people, and once it becomes very important to so many people, then they can use it, because now they know you can't almost operate without it. Then they start to demand, now give us your fingerprints, now give us your iris scan, because they know you can't refuse. Because if you refuse, then you won't be able to do all these things. We've seen this at BOU moves to enforce national ID use in mobile money withdrawals. We saw that. Government proposes national ID as tax ID, national ID to be required for all, these are headlines, national ID to be required for all services, says government. So all this data is talking about the importance of national ID to be required here. National ID will be required here. No, when you see that's so important like that, and they know that you want it or you need it, then they can say, okay, to renew your national ID, give us your risk. How are you going to refuse? Because they have put all these importance up over this one document. Now it's not that they're using to collect our personal data. No, next time if they come that, oh, to renew your national ID, give us more personal data, whatever it will be there. Facial recognition, whatever it will be, give us that. Now you say, no, I'm not giving you that. Okay, then you're locked out of all these things. You won't be able to transact, you won't be able to access this, that, you won't be able. So you're locked out. So then they're using this national ID to collect much of our biometric data. They were on cash. It's the last step that where we are. Now, again, as they collect all this data, they're using the national ID to collect all this data. We shall see how they're, like all the rest of the world, they will then move to centralize all this data. Now, at least all that national ID data is in the hand of Europe. It's already a bit centralized. Now the other bit they'll be going to is their own cash. That's why they're happening. And their own cash, we saw the deputy governor, we've been talking about this, where in April he was speaking to accountants gathered in Entebbe attending the third annual public finance management conference, where he talked about that central bank needs to shift to cryptocurrency to cut costs. That apparently we are spending a lot of money running cash. Printing and maintaining cash is becoming too expensive now that we need to move to some sort of digital money. So in order to save for that money, of course the central bank announced, this was the news report, the central bank has announced a shift from physical currency to digital money to reduce the cost associated with printing. According to the deputy governor of the Bank of Uganda, that's millions of notes are destroyed daily due to poor handling in circulation. That's what they say. The war on cash has started. So that it may be the justification, or one of the justifications for launching the central bank cryptocurrency. Here he said that we need to move to certain form of cryptocurrency. By mentioning a certain form of cryptocurrency, of course they know that that's a sort of cryptocurrency. We also saw the war on cash continued. I saw some headline, the Bank of Uganda lowered the clearing currency check value from 20 million to 10 million. This was in 2021. The Bank of Uganda has reduced the check value limit to 10 million shillings from the previous 20 million. This change became effective on January 17, 2022. The new limit is part of a move to encourage electronic payments. That's the open cash, that they are pushing more of electronic payments. So people may move of cash. They are pushing us deeper into the digital systems that again, after which they also be collapsed so that we have one digital system, that's the central bank digital ID. But by then, majority will be already comfortable in the digital systems. So that's what they are doing here, is an ongoing move on cash. We also saw, regarding that, the central bank, our BOU, Bank of Uganda, issued the final report of the consultation on central bank cryptocurrencies. They did the research last year, commissioned the research last year in June, had a stakeholders workshop in March this year, 2025, and then they had this final report released in June 2025, paving the way for a pilot to start. The possibility of our Bank of Uganda issuing the central bank cryptocurrency. So you find that we also, so to say, we are not sitting in regard to our convergence, all our movement into this digital ID agenda, or our movement towards this digital ID agenda. We are collecting data, we are launching the war on cash, at the same time launching or on the move to also issue a central bank digital currency. The other bit that I talked about is the centralization of data. So how is that happening? The centralization of data. Because now when data, after pushing people onto the digital systems, again the data remains scattered. But then you need to centralize all that data in one place. So that eventually to drive all that data, you can place all that data into the digital ID. So one of the ways that have been introduced, again we are looking at this was on October 9, 2025, so a bit recent. BOU switch that will control bank, mobile money and fintech charges. That was the headline in Daily Monitor. BOU switch that will control bank, mobile money and fintech charges. So the central bank, BOU, is planning to launch this one place or one platform where this mobile money, the bank, and all fintechs will be operating. Now you understand that mobile money, fintechs, and the bank are all operating individually. Now BOU is moving to collapse all that or centralize all that into one channel, which means yes, they are going to talk about convenience, they are going to talk about transaction, whatever, outreach for you here, what the article says. But then the major issue there is centralize all this data, bring it all in one place for easy control at the end of the day. This is what the article reads like. Bank of Uganda has announced plans to establish a national payment switch. It sounded alien and patronizing then, a long time ago when they thought about it. But in the annual report 2024-25 released in October, Bank of Uganda noted that the financial sector was inching closer to a landmark reform with the launch of the national payment system. National payment system, the place where we've talked about banks, mobile money, and fintechs all go through that one platform. National payment system. They all be observed there. They won't be running their individual whatever system. They'll all be getting through this one channel. Now, whoever is in charge of that one channel, perhaps it's time to come. They'll be able, right now, they'll be able to just see your transaction, monitor who is moving money, where, for what. But now, in future, they'll be able to even catch you up, freeze you out, because now they are all collapsing into one system. According to the article, the switch could be launched at the end of next year, that's 2026. It promised to link banks, mobile money, and fintechs in a single interoperator, all interoperable ecosystem that Bank of Uganda describes as flagship digital transformation project. Flagship digital transformation, collapsing all these things into, collapsing banks, mobile money, and all the fintechs into a single interoperator. That's transformative. Handing control to, again, select few people. Now, when you're pissed with one, you can dump them and go to another. Pissed with that and dump them and go to another. Now, today, they'll be under one national payment system. And they are speaking so many good things about it. Currently, Uganda's payment landscape is divided among banks, telecom, mobile money services, and independent fintech operators, each operating largely on exclusive systems. Now, like I've always said, even now, I also say that they don't want fragmented data. That's hard to monitor and it's hard to police and it's hard to control you. So now that's their headache here, and they're mentioning that Uganda's payment landscape is divided. Each operator is operating largely an exclusive payment system. Now they want all the payment system to be collapsed into one, this national payment system. But the switch seeks to, they're talking about the switch seeks to integrate all digital payment channels, from mobile wallets, even ATMs, to electronic fund transfer, card transactions into one shared infrastructure. Now, who will be overseeing that? That's where the biggest issue could be. And what if that person or entity abuses its powers? Okay. Anyway, collaboration framework with strategic partners, which include building the switch to feed into ongoing regional payments initiatives. So they want our switch to be fed into other regional payment systems, such as the East African payment system and the commercial regional payment and settlement system. So yeah, they want our switch to be fed into regional payment systems. Has already been completed. The collaboration frameworks have already been completed. I see where we are heading. Now, it's no longer national, it's fed into regional payment systems. These systems will streamline cross-border transactions. We've started the benefits. Cross-border transactions within Africa, allowing faster, cheaper settlements across currencies. Cheaper, faster settlements across our currencies, and then cross-border transactions. Those are the benefits. But the benefits, yes, so many people will clap for this, but this is handing ultimate control to somebody that in a few years from today will be in charge of that system, and then they'll be able to to control, observe, police, and everything onto that. We are in the phase of data collecting using our data collection using our national IDs. We are into the war on cash, and now we are also centralizing our data. So all these things appear happening independently, but at a certain time they are all going to come to a certain point of convergence where all this will be merged into the digital ID. Again, when we talk about collapsing these things, their goal is very simple. They want to collapse liberal democracies and replace them with global technocracies, the people that will be running these systems. Okay, it will not be your democratic, your individual governments. But again, we have to revisit what Larry Ellison said. When Tony Blair asked what government should do in terms of its digital infrastructure, what should governments do with their digital ID, data centers, and so on? Larry was so on point, so clear, and said the first thing that a country needs to do is to unify all their data, all of their healthcare data, their diagnostic data, electronic data. It is now this what you are seeing here with this national payment system. As much as they may talk, so many people think about it. Yes, it may come to those who think, but the end goal is again centralizing all this data into one plane. What should be the way forward? I think for me, the way forward with all this collection of data that is happening here in Uganda, with all the central bank digital currency things that are talking about the ongoing war on cash, and then the collapsing of all our data, centralizing it into certain aspects. The first place to do is resist. And that's what we saw in the UK when the Prime Minister spoke about this digital ID, saying that someone will not be able to work in the UK without a digital ID, the Brit card. The first thing that we saw were humongous strikes. People resisted all across various podcasts, protests in the streets, and almost his popularity plunged, spiraled to the negatives. People did not like it. When we talked about the digital ID, initial polls at least showed that below 50% were against it, but then in recent weeks, I've seen certain polls negatives. People are overwhelmingly against it. Why? Because they are being informed about what's happening. Now, first here in Uganda, the first place to know is to first of all see what's happening out there, and then you see is at the moment, whether ignorantly or otherwise, where they are at the moment, and start raising the alarm, and the fire is this fault when it's still at the neighbors before it gets to your gate and into your living room. So that's what we should be doing right now, raise as much alarm as possible, that we may stop this. What this gentleman talked about is called Matt Taibbi. I've been a veteran reporter. He was appearing before the United States House of Representatives talking about the Twitter files. That's on March 9, 2023. This is what he had to say, that the original promise of the internet was that it may democratize the exchange of information globally. Democratize, whereby governments wouldn't be able to govern us. We shall be on the internet like so many things happen in the internet, free, as if there's a platform to promote freedom. A free internet would overwhelm all attempts to control information flow. Its very existence a threat to anti-democratic forms of government everywhere. What we found in the files was a sweeping effort to reverse that promise and use machine learning and other tools to turn the internet into an instrument of censorship and social control. Unfortunately, our own government appears to be playing a lead role. So the internet, unfortunately, has turned into the instrument of social control. And that's why they want to drive everyone onto these digital platforms who hope to, using certain keywords here and there, and in later years it will be by force, drive everyone onto this internet, because again the instrument we thought that was going to be improve democracy, the forces that be Big Brother and this elite have now jumped onto it again to imprison people there, an instrument of censorship and social control. That's what they seek to do with all these things that are being in the world out. So that's what's happening out there. National IDs and social ID will flop in the UK due to the protests and the people have reacted to it. And again, I also thought I should highlight what the globalists are actually saying, why they need it. They don't like fragmented data, they want all data unified in one place so that they can easily control you. That the technology is actually already in place, the cameras are already there, the surveillance cameras, the technology already is in place to effect that. And that certain countries like China are going to move towards that place. And where Uganda stands in regard to all these global agendas that are converging into this digital ID. That's where we are, and the clarion call to you is to watch this, wake up, and resist. If you've enjoyed this episode, again, please let's the conversation continue. You can comment, like, and share the link within your spheres of influence that we may awaken. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time. I've been your host of the Weapons of Hope podcast, Eden Shron.